we live? Is this thing on?
Justin.
Oh, hey.
That's my line. That's my line. That's my line. I was just going to get my triple X berry vitamin water, and you beat me to the intro. I appreciate you for coming on, man. Thank you for tuning in. You're a freaking legend. Fantasy Football Nonsense says, is this thing on? What's up? Ashen1 says, let's freaking go. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a very special announcement for everybody here. I am now a proud partner and affiliate with the Owners Club Fantasy Football. It's very exciting, very amped, and I'm going to ask you as many questions as I possibly can about the Owners Club because I'm very curious about everything that is going on here. I like the fact that I am one of the OGs, starting this up, and I'm excited for my community to get into this. And I want to know everything and anything. The fact that you're here and you're one of the founders and you got this cool app here and we got these packs open, I'm amped. So talk to me, boss. If you had to break it down for a simpleton like myself, a newbie like myself, how would you break down the Owners Club? How would you explain it?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. We are extremely excited to have you as kind of one of our ambassadors, one of our partners for this program. Obviously, you have an extremely passionate, devoted community. And when I joined you, I think a week or two ago on one of your streams, you could just see kind of the passion that came in through the community and stuff. So we are excited to have you aboard and kind of get a chance to introduce this new game to people. And so what is the Owners Club? It is think digital trading cards with fantasy football. And rather than having to worry about individual players and injuries and vultures and who to start sit, instead of it being those players, each card is a team and a position group. So it'd be something like, hey, I heard you got a Miami wide receivers earlier on today. So you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. You don't have a Robbie Chosen, but whoever the other third wide receiver might come in, you'd have them as well. And so throughout the year, you're going to enter contests with those cards. All the contests are free to enter. You just make your pack purchases at the beginning of the year, or you go to the marketplace, depending on what you get in your packs or what you want to go buy, sell. You can put those in the marketplace, play those. And best part of all is we've got these free starter packs available, which we had to think over like 2,000 people was last in like the first 3 hours claimed their starter pack today. Those starter packs will come with 5 cards and give everyone the opportunity to play in 2 of the contests for free throughout the year. And then when you want to, increase your collection, get more options, that's when you can go buy a pack or, there's trading options available too. Marketplace will be available after week 1. It's a blast. I'm excited.
I'm very excited. So I was one of those few thousand who went and claimed their free pack. And you did mention my Miami wide receivers earlier. Now, in terms of defensive special teams, is Buffalo going to be good this year? You think they're going to have a decent defensive special teams?
I think they're going to be pretty solid. I think, they have a very difficult schedule. I think in that division as well, it's going to be some lower scoring games. If you look at the scoring for DST, it's pretty standard, except that there's actually additional bonuses for if you get shutouts or if you keep your opponents at lower points. It's a way to kind of add some more balance to the cards. So someone that's going to keep those low-scoring games, I do think Buffalo is a pretty solid one there. But I think like you, we like that Jacksonville running back card and that Miami wide receiver card. We're pretty bullish on as well.
Yeah, and whatever we get in our next pack, hopefully we can utilize those initial starter packs in the big contest, but we'll get to that later. I see a lot of people in the chat today right now saying they got their cards. Antonio got his cards. Let's freaking go. Ashen1 says you got Dallas QB and KC tight end. That is a nasty start. That is a tremendous start. All right, I'm ready to rip open a pack. I want, I've been holding on to these forever. I need to open one up. So I'm gonna let you choose which one, 1, 2, or 3.
I'm a middle kind of guy. Let's go right down that middle. Give me a strike.
All right, let's go. Oh, drum roll, please. All right, who we got? Do we open them one at a time? Oh,
for the cards, it'll be similar to the starter pack where you'll see all 5. and then you get to click on them to open them. So on the left-hand side, it'll be...
Look, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes.
You want to turn it off so we can...
Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then dead I'm on site. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype. Nah.
There you go. I mean, the music is bumping, but for streams, it's a little challenge.
So from the left, sorry, you said it was...
So from the left-hand side, it'll be quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense. Every pack is guaranteed to have one of each of those. And then for the starter packs, they're all starter cards. They all have serial 1000, and there's no rares. For the real packs, for the $99 packs, you're going to be guaranteed to get one rare card. And in your main event lineup or your low ball lineup, which are the 2 5-card lineups, you have to play at least one rare card. So that's why those rare cards are important.
All right. So I'm going to start with the defense and special teams. I want to save the QB for last. All right, let's go. Arizona. Oh, man.
Hey,
we got Buffalo. So
that might be the best possible low ball defense you could get, though. Arizona has a win total right now of 3.5. They're going to lose every single game. And yeah, that's a card that you might want to have. You might play every week in the low ball.
Okay. We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna keep opening stuff, but we got to get back to that because I thought that was bad. But since your reaction shows that it was really good, I'm excited. All right. Oh, not bad.
That's a sneaky good one because you're getting Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. You get them both. There's a couple teams like that. New England has the 2 tight ends. The Saints have 4 tight ends, but
all of them.
Yeah. Of the 2 tight ends, like I think Buffalo's probably the best in that group of the 2 tight ends, combo cards. So that's a really good one. I like that.
I like it too. I'm happy with it. All right. This one's going to be wide receiver, right?
Yes.
All right. Ooh.
Okay.
I like it. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy. That's a good one. So we got Debo. We got Ayuk.
Boom.
Who else do we have?
Juwan Jennings.
Okay, he's not bad. Ray McLeod.
Yeah, there you go. It's the guys you're never playing in fantasy, but just because San Francisco is so explosive, anyone could really pop off. But really, just having Debo and Ayuk can make that a pretty solid card.
Massive. All right, running backs. Let's go. Again?
Oh, you got 2 of them.
Again?
Okay.
Wow. All right, let's go. Okay, quarterback. Give me anything other than Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, and I'm happy.
Oh, he's got the Joker QB. He can.
I got everything but Mac Jones. the streamer's luck, right? It's a streamer's. I got a Joker. Okay, so tell me about this Joker QB right here. What does the Joker mean?
So Joker can be used for any card. And when you set your lineup, you've got to then decide who you want that card, what team you want that card to be. So let's say you have the Miami wide receivers, right? You want to have the Miami quarterbacks, but you don't have the Miami quarterback card in your collection. You can play that Joker QB and use that. You say, hey, this is a Miami quarterback for this week. Or you could go make that Buffalo quarterback and stack it with your Buffalo tight ends. Each week you can play the matchups. And as you know, you just got to decide before you lock in your lineup which team it is that week. And there's only 1 Joker per lineup, so you can't go buy 5 Jokers and use them all the time. But in each lineup, you can use 1 Joker.
All right. So we have a question from AR Spiels. So are there 32 cards for each position?
Technically 33, 32 teams plus 1 Joker. And then within that card, you can see the serial numbers down here. So for example, Joker QB, that's 567. There's actually for the Joker, for all the non-rares, there's 999 available. And then for the rares, there's 249 available. Now, that would be if every single pack that we have is sold, which highly unlikely. So instead, what we're doing is selling to demand. So far more likely that there's going to be, I don't know, let's say 25% of packs get sold, then that means only 25% of each of those would be out there. So his question, are there 32 for each position? Yeah, 33. But then you can have multiple of the serials, and the serials matter because the tiebreaker is the best serial combination. And that's why this Arizona D that we talked about, we'll talk about the low ball, but not only is it a rare, which means you can use it for the low ball, and not only is it a low serial, but it's literally the worst possible defense. That's just an amazing low ball card.
Okay. So let's look at the lobby, because Quasi just mentioned here. Disco, they have multiple tournaments in the lobby, one of which is a low ball tournament. You want to score less points, so Arizona defensive special teams is like number one there. Thank you. Shout out to you, Quasi, aka the two-time. He won first and second place in one of these tournaments last year. So
Quasi's on his game. Quasi knows what's up.
Yes, I appreciate you, Quasi. Okay, so I'm looking at the events page right now.
Yes.
So here's your low ball. So based off of what you and Quasi are saying is, if you got like some stinky talent, instead of just like being like, oh, I'm really PO'd that I got the tight end group for the New York Jets, I could enter the New York Jets tight end group or anybody from Arizona Cardinals, top to bottom, into the low ball and have a chance of winning.
Yeah, exactly. So for normal fantasy, this structure doesn't work because you could always just go play a backup quarterback or running back who's not playing and like get zeros. But with this structure where it's teams and position groups, you never can guarantee yourself a zero. Other than like last year, there was like what? I think Houston tight end, you basically had like virtually never would score points. This year they had Dalton Schultz. So like for the most part, it's a lot harder to get lower scores than you think. You might think like you played Mike White 2 years ago when he was on the Jets, and then he goes and throws for 5 touchdowns, and you're like, well, there goes my low ball. But that's the best part is with these packs, if you get good cards, use them in the good contests. If you get a really crappy card, use it in the low ball.
Okay. Now, to enter, so I'm going to go back to enter the main event, right?
Yes.
You need one rare.
For the main event and the low ball, those are 5-card contests. You need to have at least one rare in your lineup.
Okay. So the Joker doesn't constitute as a rare. My only rares. Go ahead.
There are Joker rares. You got a Joker standard.
Okay. So if I wanted to enter the main event, I would have to ride with the defensive special teams of the Arizona Cardinals or open more packs.
Exactly. Or make a trade. So I don't know if people have seen the trade tool, but we just launched that yesterday. So if you go to collection and then go to trade, it even says new. How nifty. Go to create new trade.
Okay.
And now we can see, hey, let's search for a user. So on the right-hand side, you can search for a user. Let me think. Let's go see if Big Umbrella is under there.
Space or one word?
Let's go no space. All right,
that's
cool.
you.
That is not me, but I know that's someone from the community that plays, and I was just pretty sure that was his name. So like here we can see what is in his account. And let's say you wanted to send him a trade offer. You can be like, hey, I really want that Tampa Bay, that Indy wide receiver you have right there, and I'm willing to give you my San Francisco wide receiver. So you can click on yours, put it in the trading away, say what you want, and it's kind of like sending over a trade offer. And so he would get a notification. He can go in and see like, hey, I've got trades being sent to me, and he can either accept it, he can, counter it and send you a new one, he can reject it, but this gives that kind of fun trading dynamic. And if you're in the Discord, you'll see people are always kind of talking through, hey, I'm looking for this, I've got this to trade. It's been pretty fun.
I like this comment a lot. Adrian Fidesz says, this man cracked the code, combined Pokemon cards and fantasy football, new addiction unlocked. I think like that alone has me sold, but the concept of the marketplace is what really got me super excited, because not only can you make money in these tournaments, in these lobbies, right? So what's the going rate for winning a weekly event in one of these? So go ahead, just tell me top to bottom.
Good question. So right now, you can see it says prizes and it says 0. That's because we wanted to get these prizes. We wanted to get these contests live in the lobby once the starter packs are there, so people know what they can do with them. But it won't be until just before the season starts that we'll have a better idea of how much prizes there are. If you go to buy packs in the top left real quick.
You mean top right?
No, oh, that works too. And then next to the lobby too. But yeah, to the left of the word lobby is what I was going with. Yeah. You can see current prize pool is 1 million gold right there. 1 million gold is equal to $100,000. And to get to the next unlock, we need to sell 106 more packs, and then 200,000 more gold or 20,000 more dollars will be added to the prize pool.
Okay.
So that'll be that's the season-long prize pool. Our hopes are to get that as high as possible. Today, as I said, we got 2,000 plus new people who got their starter pack. The hopes are they'll go open their starter pack. Maybe they then want to go buy their first pack. If you buy 5 packs, you get a free pack as well. So there's some bonuses there. And that grows the prize pool. And now if you go back to lobby, once we have a better idea of what the prize pool will be, we're then going to break that up into weekly across all the weeks, across all the contests. For the breakdown of each one, there's, and I can send a link to this, but I believe it's 70% of the prize pool will go to the tournaments for a weekly basis. 15% will go to the finals. There's a champions finals, which you only qualify for if you win a main event, or there's a normal finals where if you finish in the top 10% of any main event, then you get an entry into this. So you'll probably have 3, 4, 5 entries by the end of the year. And then that gives us a kind of a Super Bowl culmination fun thing. For the weekly, 60% of the prize pool of the weekly prizes go to the main event, and 10% go to the others. So I know this is a lot of numbers, but the general idea is like main event, that's definitely got the highest prize pool. Low ball, side hustle, Island of Misfit, and OGs, those each get 10% as well. So that's how it'll be divvied across the season. Starting, pretty shortly before the season starts, we'll start kind of populating with what these prizes are. But we're going to wait until we get a better idea of how much actually the prize pool is so we can divide them up fairly well.
Fair. Okay. So I'm just going to take a moment right now and I'm going to address the viewers.
Yes.
If you guys are excited about this, because I know I am, and I know a lot of the people in my community had an early taste at this, it's not too late to open up your free starter pack. If you look in the description here, we have the link that you need to follow to get your free starter pack. And then there's also the Google link where you just go in, fill out a form there, and it'll take you right to the page, and you get to buy one of these if you enjoyed it. Because I know I'm going all in on this. I love this product. I think the whole thing is cool. So starter pack, free starter pack, link in the description. All right, folks. We got a question from RSPLs. Do you keep the cards for each season? Good question.
Good question. So in general, this is a 1-season game. The packs and cards that you're opening now, that will be for this year's contests. Just like your fantasy, your redraft league, start of next season, it'll be new packs, new cards, new contests, new prize pool. The one exception is if you played in the OGs contest, which is what we started 2 years ago, we told those people, and we wanted to give a nod to our really OGs, our early adopters, that, hey, this year we're going to have another contest for the OGs as well. Those are cards that can be bought and sold in the marketplace. But in general, to make this so it's more of a sustainable, so we can continue to bring prizes each year, it's hey, you're buying cards for that season.
Noted. What up, Patrick Pucci? I'm glad you finally figured out how to work the YouTube button, buddy. Congratulations. All right. So next question, my friend. Next question, the marketplace. Now this is what had me really excited. Okay, so if I click on the marketplace here, I'm not going to see much, right? Because it's not
right
open
now
yet.
The marketplace is not live. The marketplace will go live right after week 1.
Okay, so can you explain to me and to the audience what the marketplace is and why? And then I'll talk about why I'm excited about it, but I'm pretty sure everybody will understand at the end of your explanation here.
Yeah. So, hey, you got one pack, you got your starter pack, and you only have one rare card. And so you want to, you could go buy some more packs, or you know what? You're like, I really think that the Seattle wide receivers are going to be an amazing card. And with JSN kind of hurt early on, I want to really, get in before they start blowing up. So let me buy some Seattle cards so I can use them as they start blowing up. Yes, you could open a whole bunch of packs and hope you get Seattle wide receivers, or you can go to the marketplace and hope that someone's selling a Seattle wide receiver. And similarly, you can go and sell any of the cards you got because you're like, hey, you just got 2 Jacksonville running backs. You don't need 2 of them. So let me go to the marketplace, sell Jacksonville running back. That's a pretty good card. Someone's going to pay me for that card. And now with my payment, I can then use that to maybe go buy another card that I like more.
I like that you mentioned that. I'm going to wait until Jacksonville is playing against a completely atrocious run defense. And then I'm going to sell it and I'm going to watch it's like stocks. It's like the stock market. Values on a weekly basis go up and down. And if you have multiples, like I just earned a multiple right there, you can sell it. So now say I pick up a quarterback that I really like, for example, like a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields. Can I sell my Joker on the marketplace?
You can definitely sell your Joker. The Jokers are the most valuable ones out there. So those are in high demand, and you'll get a feel for what that kind of price is based off what people are willing to sell for and what people are willing to buy it for. I'm going to throw out one more thing that we haven't touched on, but is pretty applicable to the Jacksonville running backs. So there's a thing called the wrinkle, and this is usually the Thursday wrinkle. Occasionally it's a Sunday morning wrinkle, but whenever a game is played prior to the Sunday lock. So just about every week we lock the contest at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I say just about because there might be an outlier at the end of the season or maybe like a Thanksgiving aspect, but almost always, and you'll know, we lock at 1 o'clock. But there's Thursday night games, and occasionally there's a London or a Germany game. Well, with the wrinkle, you are able to watch that game, see how the players and how the cards do, and then make a decision whether or not you want to use those in your lineup. Or you can go to the marketplace and sell them, or maybe go buy if you really want that card. So week 7, Jacksonville plays New Orleans on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. Let's say Jacksonville running backs go for 4 touchdowns. And in that scenario, Jacksonville running backs, 4 touchdowns, that card is going to be extremely in high demand because people are like, I'm going to go buy that because I want to make sure that I have the best running back card in my lineup because I've got great other cards around it. So let me get that. And you can be like, hey, this might also be a selling opportunity for me. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to go sell that for however much and use that to go invest in 5 cards or 3 better cards or something because you're taking advantage of that wrinkle aspect.
That is a very interesting and unique wrinkle. I'm excited. I like this. I like this a lot. I got 2 more packs. I'm probably going to buy another one just because I haven't. What happens if you buy 5 packs?
So if you buy 5 packs at any time, you get a 6th pack free. So you can buy 5 at once, or if you buy 1, you buy 2, you then buy another 2, and then you get whenever you get that 5th one, it'll let you know, and you'll actually see a counter, and it'll say like how many more you need to get to that free bonus. But as soon as you buy that 5th pack, you get a free pack as well.
Noted. The moment the stream's over, I'm buying 2 more packs because I'm hooked. I love it. I think the idea is very unique. I think it's very cool. You are introducing the stock market to fantasy football and making it like a Pokemon kind of. What's the motivation behind this? And before you answer, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Let's just look at the drafters lobby for the 2 million.
Yeah,
are you ready to draft in drafters?
Give me one second and I will pull that up.
Yeah, it's at 4 out of 12 for the 2 million. I'm going to queue up right after you tell me you're queued
I'm in the lobby. I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Drafters right. 2 million, folks. Queue up. We need 5 more to draft with us. Cool. That was super cool. Super awesome. Now,
there's one more there's one more thing that we need to mention because specific to your community, there's some value for them. There's some giveaways that they can get that is just going to be specifically only for your community.
Really?
You wanna break the news, or you want me to? I don't know. This is your show, Disco.
I think since you're a special guest and this is special news, it's always nice when the special guest breaks the special news. So go ahead and break it to them.
Awesome. Well, for anyone that purchases a pack, we will have a Google form that you can submit that is specifically just for the BDE, the Big Draft Energy community. And we're going to do a spinning of the wheel for a TOC pack, the $99 one of those packs. And anytime you buy a pack, you will get included on this wheel. So we'll probably do this like after week 1, maybe week 2. We'll see, because we want to give you guys enough time. Maybe you get your feet wet before the season. Maybe you buy a pack after. We want to make sure you get included. And that'll be a wheel spin. And so make sure you fill out that Google form. Just provide your information so we can then track you to see who is included in the BDE community and how many times you get entered on the wheel. Right now, we are doing 1 free giveaway pack, but if you guys impress me, I might be able to spruce that up a little. No promises, but we'll see how big the Big Draft Energy community comes.
Oh, I like it. Big Draft Energy and promos go hand in hand. It says our draft is starting, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up here. Okay, we're in the pre-draft. Perfect. So I'm just gonna.
Ooh, I got the 12 spot. You got the 8 spot.
Ooh, share screen. The navigation of technology is one of my weakest points as a human being, but I am working on it. I am trying to be better and get better. I promise. All right, we're here. We're in it. Let's go. We got Carl Ramrod at the 107. Me at the 108, Mr. Junior at the 109, Ash 9 at the 111, and you, Justin Herzig, at the 112. I'm very excited. Smooth transition. Shout out to our community for filling that draft very fast. So Antonio says Jaguars, Colts, week 1, Texans, week 3. Okay.
That's a good start.
That is a good start. Easy and then Antonio also asks, how much does a pack cost? They're $99 USD. You are in New York, so you don't have to pay the Canadian fee like some of us wonderful people. But yeah, it's $99 per pack, and you can open a free pack right now and then just add whatever you want to your pack, especially if you want to get into the main event where, all the big money towards the end of the season is to be made. Get a pack. Get some unique stacks and some unique correlation. Play around with the marketplace when the season starts. It's super fun. I highly recommend it. Was there a question that I missed earlier? Is everybody good? Just let me know in the chat. And also in the chat, can you guys let me know if you guys did open up a pack, who you guys got in your pack earlier? Oh, yeah. I would appreciate that. That would be really awesome. I want to know who you guys got in your packs.
I'll put the link in here too. If anyone has not gone and claimed their free starter pack, you can go on that link, claim it now. And to that question, yes, so $99 for the packs, and then all the contests are free to enter. So you buy your packs at the beginning of the season, and then you can sell in the marketplace to get some cash back. You can go buy elsewhere, you can get more, you can do whatever, but then you can enter all the contests for free throughout the year.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Castle Sports Talk says, dang, that's a good deal. You damn Skippy. So have you heard of Mr. Junior not on Drafters, but on Underdog?
I have not. I know Mr. Junior's got about 32 drafts on here. I think I've seen that name once or twice before. I definitely have, because I recognize that picture.
So Mr. Junior, you know how Underdog came out with their lists, how there's like a list of like the top drafters overall in terms of like the drafters on Underdog. He's on the Prove It list. He made it on the Prove It list. Apparently 20% of his lineups last year on UD hit, which is pretty spectacular. So he's an up and coming content creator. Shout out to Mr. Junior, up and coming content creator on YouTube, Castle Sports Talk. If you haven't heard of him, you're about to, because he's going to make some noise in your Best Ball Mania drafts. Oh, you're on the clock. You got AJ Brown and Devontae Adams off the rip. Love to see it. So yeah, look out for that name, Mr. Junior from Castle Sports Talk. Castle Sports Talk says, where do we find the Google form? It's in our Discord, and it's also in the description in the YouTube video. Okay. Quasi, the 2-time says, stream delay. I missed it. Were you grabbing a vitamin water? Okay.
Am I not cool enough with just regular water? I mean, what do I need to do? Like dissolve some vitamins, put some emergency in here?
Well, like, have you ever won first and second place on Drafters Fantasy? Because like, I know you're kind of a big deal in like, everywhere else in best ball, and you probably finished like top 10 last year here as well. But yeah, like vitamin water is the drafters fantasy sports drink of choice, and it's gotta be the triple X berry, the acai blueberry pomegranate, even though pomegranate tastes like juicy cardboard. Now let's talk football. Jonathan Taylor, how are you playing this? And how much exposure do you have to Jonathan Taylor here on Drafters and everywhere else?
Yeah, so my Jonathan Taylor exposure to start the year off, most of the season had been pretty low because when he was going around the late second, early third, I was mostly fading. I had around 2% of him. My thoughts were he's on an offense where he basically just signed a better goal line back in Anthony Richardson. They signed drafted Anthony Richardson, who probably is going to struggle to actually get in the red zone because, like, hey, rookie QB that struggled in college, like, okay, even though we like him for fantasy, from a real world, it's difficult. Also, didn't throw to his running backs in college much. Why would he? Instead of dumping it off, may as well just run it himself. So, like, it wasn't a great situation in my mind for Jonathan Taylor early on. Then, as he started going in that late third, early fourth, and there was a chance he was going to go to Miami, Chicago, Philly, that's when I was like, okay, at value, I'm getting around plus a value. I'm going to start scooping him. So I got from 2% to 6%, mainly in that late third, early fourth value. But that's where I ended up at is 6%. I'm pretty happy with that and the way things played out because right now, I'm not even sure if on drafters, I don't think I'm drafting him in the top 80 or 90. On other sites, maybe I'm drafting him around that kind of 80 to 90 range.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself after, I read a couple of articles earlier this morning and I tweeted it out that due to the asking price of his contract negotiation for trade suitors, teams did not want to forfeit a first round pick and then pick up that contract as well. So I figured that was going to be ugly. So I told myself, how am I going to play it? And is there a point in these drafters lobbies and tournaments where I would personally want to draft him? And I think maybe top of round 7, anywhere around there, that's where I'd like him. But I still don't know if I'd love that pick because missing 4 games regardless is absolutely awful. And we don't know if he's going to come back and play at all because there's just too much turmoil with him and Jim Irsay. What do you think he can get traded before the October 28th trade deadline? Or do you think he will get traded? Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil.
Yeah. So you are on the clock now. You went Devo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Josh Jacobs falling to 33. Mr. Junior, well done. That feels like a steal to me. I think Josh Jacobs right now should be a late second now that we know he's back. What are your thoughts there on Josh Jacobs?
I understand his value and I understand the hype behind Josh Jacobs. I feel like Josh Jacobs had a boost in his performances last year based off the fact that he got a lot of anatomical adaptation based off of reps in the preseason. If you remember correctly, you're on the clock, by the way. Yeah, he was kind of like on the cusp of, there was rumors about him being on the cusp of being cut, which I didn't believe, but he actually had to play in the preseason. And since he had all those reps with his teammates as a football player, I know if you don't have the reps in the preseason, if you don't have the reps in training camp, it's not going to translate well to for you towards the regular season. So that's why I'm not bullish on Josh Jacobs. That's why I have a very low percentage of Josh Jacobs. I liked him last year when I got him in round 7. But this year in round 3, I'd much rather get, a Saquon in a round 2 or an Eckler in round 1 and then go hero RB the rest of the way. So I saw you get excited for Josh Jacobs, and I know that you have a completely different, or do you have a completely different take on Jacobs than I do?
I just think that he's going to be plugged into the same role that he was last year. Even after they signed and they knew they were signing Josh Jacobs, getting him back, they still were playing Zamir White in the preseason game. I don't think they have any confidence in him. They didn't last year either. Same coaching staff, no reason to believe they're going to treat Jacobs any differently. And if we knew all season long that he was going to be, active and not in this holdout situation, I think he would have been being drafted really in the mid-second for most of the summer, like right behind kind of that Barkley aspect. And so now not only are you getting Like, I don't want to reach on him too much into that mid-second because people have been getting so much value on him in this late third area. But I think he's still worth the pick, probably in the early third, maybe even end of the second. Just too much of a full workload running back that you just don't see, drafted around that area.
Well, he's got the same, like you are attracted to that aspect that he is a workhorse running back like a Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is also an outlier in my opinion, because I don't think there's anybody who can withstand 350 plus carries in 4 straight seasons other than that human being. So I generally understand your take on Josh Jacobs, and I think where Junior got him is probably where I would take him. But Deebo Samuel is somebody who I'm really bullish on, and I keep trying to buy the dip on Deebo because unlike, Jacobs this year, where Jacobs missed a lot of training camp, last year Deebo's dip happened due to him missing training camp and then dealing with a lot of injuries. So that's the only correlation based off of me choosing Deebo ahead of Josh Jacobs. I feel like Deebo's going to have a spectacular comeback year. Castle Sports Talk, Mr. Junior says, not too people high on Christian Kirk. What do you think about Kirk? Is that Christian Kirk or Kirk Cousins?
So he's talking about Christian Kirk because I drafted Christian Kirk. Okay. And so that took Christian Kirk way above ADP. But what I like to do with some of these drafters, especially when I'm starting with something kind of chalky like Adrian Brown and Devontae Adams, is grab some player combinations that no one else is really taking together and getting it in a correlated manner. Because of where ETN has been drafted all year and where Christian Kirk is, those two are usually drafted at polar opposites. What Christian Kirk, his ADP, if I'm able to kind of pull it up, is 48. And so 48, that is right at that round 4 or 5 turn, while ETN has primarily been going around the 3-4 turn. So when you got two players that rarely are drafted together, if those two blow up together for this season, I've now got a unique pairing against the field, and it's not unreasonable to believe that Jacksonville can take that next step. So that's really where I went with that kind of Christian Kirk uniqueness aspect.
All right. Ashen one just commented 3 QBs really. So I had to take a look at the draft board, and Nana 102. First drafters 2 million draft. So they're a rookie here. How do you feel about people who just go ahead and ruin the freaking lobby for everybody else? Does it bug you? Do you pivot? Does it wear on you? Like,
so if this person drafts those 3 QBs and then none other for the rest of it, my thought is like, okay, they like QBs. They don't know really the strategic aspect. It is what it is. Let's adapt to it. If this person goes and drafts like 7 or 8 QBs the rest of the time, I definitely get very frustrated because one, it's a question of, do they throw it out? I don't know how much drafters does. Like, how do you react there? So that obviously becomes more frustrating. But as you said, this is the person's first one. End of the day, not really that upset at this point. What is important is to kind of consider, what do you do in response to this? And the answer is, you probably start taking your QBs a little earlier, because you already know that a person who went Mahomes already has 2 others. Usually Mahomes drafter doesn't draft another one for a long time and maybe only one other. And that's kind of the same as Burrow and Fields. So I'm obviously going to make sure I grab my Trevor Lawrence there. And now let's see what I want to do with my next. I do like Dameon Pierce a lot, and he is steaming up as it looks like he's going to truly be a workhorse. Love Terry, but that injury scares me a little, and I've got 3 wide receivers. So I'm going to grab Dameon Pierce as my second running back.
All right. So Fantasy Football Nonsense says, Justin, please take all the Week 13 bye week players for me since I missed the queue. Thanks. Love you. Bye. Shout out to Fantasy Football Nonsense. And he also asks, how do we feel about stacking RBs? We asked you this last time, but your response was absolutely phenomenal.
And so specifically, I'd say, look at my Twitter. It's probably from like 3 weeks ago or so. I could probably find it, but I wrote a Twitter thread on stacking running backs in these best ball style drafts. For tournaments where it's a playoff style contest, like you see on DraftKings or Underdog or some other sites, I really like it because it gives you some uniqueness and ping pong value in trying to find a unique player for that week 17. For a drafter style, it's a little more challenging when we're really looking for that 1% outcome. You could tell yourself a story that there is a scenario where like Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson both have great years. One of them is like a blowout year and the other one kind of just hits value a little more. It's just a far bit more of an outlier outcome. So I would say for drafters, I'm usually not taking more than one running back per a team because I think it makes more sense to kind of, hey, hope that you hit on the right running back who has that outlier performance. So much of drafters is just getting the right players that have those breakout seasons. And every time you hit that, if you did draft another running back, it's possible they have a decent year, but more often than not, kind of they don't from a larger sample size. So in the most tournaments where there's a playoff structure, I like the running back aspects, particularly when it's an ambiguous backfield or when they both have roles. On drafters, I've done it occasionally, but for the most part, I don't like drafting multiple running backs from the same team.
Now, on the occasions you have done it, is there a specific model behind like what kind of backfield you're looking for, and who are the players in these backfields that you are doing it with on your particular occasions here on Drafters?
Yeah, so I think there's kind of a first rule is you cannot be expending too much draft capital. So it's got to be guys that are going kind of mid to late. And then I think there's two scenarios that I'm looking for. One is I'm looking for a scenario where there's contingency upside. If one person gets hurt, two other guys really elevate. So often these are three-headed backfields. Maybe if you would have been earlier in the offseason saying, you know what, I think that Deonta Foreman's going to get cut. So you draft Roshan and Khalil Herbert at their cheaper prices, and they both, do well. I think Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson is a decent one where, hey, you want to make a bet that Devin Achane doesn't actually have a good year or he gets hurt. Because of how cheap Mostert and Jeff Wilson are, they can both substantially surpass their ADP value. But that wouldn't work if you're going Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery. Because for Jahmyr Gibbs to hit his top 10% outcome, Dave Montgomery is very, very unlikely to surpass his ADP value, and definitely vice versa.
Noted.
New Orleans, another decent one, where if you say, you know what, I think Jamal Williams has nothing left in the tank. Kendra Miller is a good value. You can grab Kamara, you can grab Kendra Miller, and because that's costing you an 8th, 9th rounder and a 15th rounder, like that's not that much capital. It's pretty easy for a 15th rounder to surpass their ADP to get value on it, even if the 9th round running back Kamara has a great year.
Fair. Now let's go back to the Jonathan Taylor situation, because I see his name there and it's teasing me, and I'm like, it's Jonathan Taylor, it's round 7, I want him. If you're not drafting Jonathan Taylor, and obviously you probably shouldn't, which running back are you looking to draft in the Indianapolis Colts backfield, and how early? Especially now that the news is broken that he is on the pup.
Yeah, so to be honest, I think it's a stay away. If in the 20th round you want to take a dart throw, I think I don't know. Honestly, any of the three are fine. But Kareem Hunt didn't sign with New Orleans because there was word he might get a contract from Indy. He could show up there. I think they actually like Zach Moss the best. Zach Moss had the arm injury. He'll be back maybe week 2 or so. Deion Jackson, probably the most pass catcher of the group, but honestly, what type of role is that? Catching passes from Anthony Richardson as a running back is not happening often. And then you got the rookie, Evan Hall, who maybe has a breakout, but he's like a 6th round rookie. And all of this to say, Jonathan Taylor could be back in week 4. So how excited are we really about this situation? I mean, in week 5, obviously a stay away from me.
Noted. Is Jonathan Taylor really going to make it to the 8th round?
This
hurts my heart. This really hurts my heart.
In this structure, he's even more difficult to draft because you're missing those 4, and it's not like, oh well, he's going to have great value when we get to the playoffs. Well, no, there aren't playoffs.
I agree. Patrick Pucci says he loves Mostert at his cost, and he also says he loves Deion Jackson. I think Deion Jackson's a relatively interesting piece, but if I'm going to take a gamble on any of them as a last round dart throw, I think I'm more inclined to go with Evan Hull because he just seems like more of a hard-nosed runner than the other two. Zach Moss, I mean, we anticipated him to be a bruiser, but he got, pushed out of Buffalo because he just couldn't stay healthy. And, I'm not drafting injured players, and I refuse to draft injured players. So if I'm going to take a gamble in the very last rounds, I think I'm going to go more with Evan Hull, even though Deion Jackson has proven he can be, reliable.
Yeah. And think of the archetypes of those two. So Evan Hall, yes, you get the rookie, you get the wide range of outcomes, and he may be that kind of early down back, but you're still on a team that's not scoring many touchdowns. And when you are near the goal line, Anthony Richardson's there. Or the Deion Jackson, where it's like, hey, he has success being a pass catching running back and for Indy. So maybe he slides directly into that role. But Anthony Richardson doesn't throw to his running backs that often. So they're up, I think best case scenario is you end up taking the right one and he's probably like a round 10, 11 guy, which is good value. But I don't think I'd rather honestly take someone like Josh Kelly in the 18th, where if Austin Eckler goes down, Josh Kelly is a potential league winner. Or maybe Chris Evans, where he's going to be the pass catching back. Maybe he gets that Samaje Perine role. Kieran Williams, they haven't played him in a single preseason game this offseason. They loved him last year. He's going to be a pass catching down for LA Rams. And maybe he even, surpasses Cam Akers. I think there's just some other bets that I want to prioritize. But again, if you're going to throw a dart throw at end of the round 20th, I'm not going to follow you.
So I just wanted to know, do we think that any of those guys could potentially be a big money winner? And the answer is flat out, not really. So
unlikely.
Here's another.
It's unlikely, is my thought.
Okay, so here's another last round dart throw question, because this one's been bugging me since Kyler went down last year, and it's bugging me even more now that Colt McCoy got released and Dobbs is in Arizona. Who's starting the first 4 weeks in Arizona? Is it going to be Clayton Tune or is it going to be Dobbs?
According to Schefter, Dobbs kind of has the inside track. Clayton Tune has been getting positive camp reports, so my thought was it was going to be him, but he hasn't looked great in the actual preseason, and they went and brought in Dobbs. For me, Dobbs is definitely the better quarterback and has a better chance of helping them win maybe 4, 5, 6 games. But you're in full-on evaluation mode. Use Clayton. See if you have anything out of him. See if he's even a competent backup. I mean, to be honest, we know your goal this year is to get Caleb, to get that. Or if you like Kyler and you want to stay with Kyler, then you can literally sell a king's ransom for that number 1 overall pick. But I think if you get the number 1 overall pick next year, Caleb is, I don't know, we say we have these franchise QBs being drafted as rookies, but I want to, whatever that next level is, this is beyond it. He's a better prospect than Andrew Luck was coming out. There's comps, obviously, to Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be a beast.
Yeah. He looked absolutely, what was it? 26 for 30. He looked great. What was it the other night? So he looked absolutely phenomenal. I don't doubt that he's going to look good. But I mean, they can even trade down and still get a Marvin Harrison Jr., right? So they're sitting pretty over there. I personally would like to see Clayton Tune because I refuse to draft Dobbs as a last round dart throw. I'm just not there. I'm not going to do it. We got Castle Sports Talk. Mr. Jr. says, Anthony Richardson is the only guy I'd be willing to draft in Indy. Pittman is a great player, but just don't see him doing well in that offense. You feel bad for Pittman. See, you fade Pittman. I fade Pittman, but fantasy football nonsense is all over Pittman. How do you feel about Pittman?
I'm currently trying to think how I feel about Jonathan Taylor at pick 109.
I know. It's bugging me. If you're going to do it, now's the time, right?
So I'm going to grab Ingram here for my stack. And then I'm honestly probably going to go Zay Jones. Part of me is I don't actually want okay. Well, there you go. I think it's a 0. I think it's still a 0. And in this drafters format, it's still pretty bad to be kind of getting a 0 in even the 10th round. like Zay Jones, all these players that you're drafting at this point, whether it's a QB2, whatever, like just seem to have so much more upside. There it is. Ashton grabs him.
Ashen one.
Ashton one. There you go.
My man. He took the risk. He typically goes very bully RB, like very aggressive with the RBs off the rip. So this is unique for him. But he's got some really good RB value right now, and I'm struggling to find any sort of quarterback value. So I'm just going to keep pushing the position. Honestly, I'm okay with it. Samaje Perine is my favorite middle round running back. I'm so high on Perine this year. I wish I could have an analytical take on why I love Perine, but I think my biggest thing is just Sean Payton historically with him, the receiving dual threat running backs perform very well. And I don't think Javonte Williams is going to be necessarily ready. Like they're going to be ramping him up because he came off of a PLC, an LCL, an MCL, and ACL, all of the CLs he tore. So if he does come back, shame on me because I've been fading Javonte Williams. I just think Samaje Perine is an absolute steal, especially in round 10 and 11. What's your take on Perine this year? You love it? You hate it?
I like it, I would say. And I particularly like it on drafters. If you look at his ADP compared to other sites, it's pretty common and pretty similar between other sites and here. And that just doesn't make sense because even though, yes, Javonte has been actually out there and playing, I'm still expecting a slow ramp up for him. And so in this format where every week matters as much as the other weeks, it's not biased toward the playoffs. Someone like Samaje Perine should actually be getting drafted earlier in these structures. So I like it. I like it a lot here. And I think all your points are definitely right. I believe that Sean Payton straight up told him, convinced him to sign, saying, you're going to have a major role. This is the way we want to run this offense. They've even been in the rumors for multiple other running backs out there. So it tells me this wants to be a run first team. And I think that's how you protect Russ, especially with all these wide receivers going down. So yeah, I think I like Samaje and I think it's a great pick.
Okay. So since you like Samaje and you think it's a great pick, 600.5 rushing yards. You going over or under for Samaje this year? Because that's his pick 'em prop here on drafters.
I'm trying to think. So that's 600. So we're going 600 divided by 17. Is that 45? 35 yards per game if you play all 17. I mean,
that's free money, right?
What was that?
That's free money, right?
I feel like that's low. I think he's going to be used more in the pass game. So that's my one bit of hesitation. But 35 yards, I think that's low. I would take over.
Yeah, I mean, even if he throws in a couple 100-yard games in there, which I do anticipate he will have at least one or two, I think he's going to breeze by it at least halfway through the season. Have you done any of these? Ashton once talking about there's a nice little convo here. He's talking about the $250 drafters tournament. Have you entered any of those? The high stakes drafters tournament?
I have not. I think there's just too much value from an overlay standpoint and what we're seeing in this tournament that I want to max this out from just a time wise and whatnot. I've got about 12 more to do. And then I've also been doing a lot of drafts from a more high stakes on the DraftKings site. So I maxed out that 555. And so that's where a lot of my time has been.
Noted. I believe Ashen one's done 3 here on drafters and he's done quite a few over on Underdog. So he's definitely one of those high stake dudes. He's pretty freaking awesome.
Very nice.
Jonesy's been hiding lately. He'll be back. That's good to know. Jonesy's the guy who introduced us. Jonesy, we miss you. Glad you got to make it, buddy. See ya. Have a good night. Castle Sports Talk says, love Jacoby this year, Disco, with Waller gone and reunited with Josh McDaniels. Jacoby will own single coverage in the middle of the field. And I mean, there's 100 targets gone from Darren Waller. There's 100 targets gone from Mac Hollins. Somebody's got to fill the void. And I mean, Michael Mayer is going to be available relatively late in these drafts. He's practically free. So he's a for sure thing if I'm trying to get any sort of Raiders correlation. But I feel like Jacoby Myers, especially if he's a little bit past ADP, he's a great value because he didn't suck last year. He was fairly decent last year. He just was on a very crappy Matt Patricia run offense. How do you feel about Jacoby Myers? Is that somebody you'd like to take as like a tweener here, or as a flex option, or?
Yeah, I think from a pure projection standpoint, where he's going, he's a really good value. The challenge with him is I fail to see how he turns into a top 15 wide receiver. And so the wide receivers that are going around him, two particular ones I'll name, are Zay Jones and Tyler Boyd. And so those two, I think if you were to make a bet with me on like who finishes the season with more points, I'd say Jacoby Myers. But in this structure in best ball tournaments, when I'm deciding who to draft, I'd rather have the Boyd and Zay Jones because they have the higher contingency upside. They're on the higher powered offenses. If one of Chase or Higgins goes down, Boyd becomes a fantastic play. If one of Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk goes down, Zay Jones has a chance to be another league winner. And so when I'm thinking through like who I want on these pure upside style contests, I'd rather go with the ones with the contingency upside on the stronger offense. But if we're talking home redraft leagues and you just need that third wide receiver because you went pretty heavy the other positions early on, yeah, I think Jacoby Myers is probably a great value where he's being drafted, just for the role he's going to have in that offense.
Fair. So Boyd went off the board as a pick 98. Zay Jones went to you at 1. I got Myers at 128. I'm happy with Myers at 128. That's where I'll take him. I'll definitely buy the dip there because there could be some productive numbers just from like a sheer reception. Because I'm not there with Renfro, just from sheer volume at the receiving game, just receptions alone. I like Jacoby Myers a lot.
Yeah, I think 128 is definitely a great place to be grabbing Jacoby. I don't know what his ADP is, but I normally think of him and Zay and Boyd being in that like 110s to 120, but maybe he's fallen back a bit.
He's definitely falling here on Drafters. I don't know about the other sites. Here in Ontario, we can only draft on Drafters Fantasy in these best ball tournaments. Sorry, shameless plug time.
No, he's 118. He's 118 on Drafters.
So where did I get him? I got him.
You got him 120. You got him at great value. Yeah.
So I like the value there. I think that's the only time I would get a guy like Jacoby Myers is if he falls past ADP, and that's definitely where I take him. But typically, I feel like Juju Smith-Schuster, somebody who's very slept on in that range with the Tyler Boyds, the Zay Joneses. I would be more inclined to want to take Juju Smith-Schuster than those guys because one, there's a contract. Two, he is the only real wide receiver in New England. And he's the only one who I'd like to be bullish on other than Demario Douglas as a last round dart throw, but that's for a later conversation. It's for a far later conversation. I love Demario Douglas this year, man. Once again, no rhyme or reason behind it. I put on the highlight tape and I said, holy shit, it's Tyreek Hill. You there with Demario Douglas? You love him, you hate him. How do you feel about him? Don't care?
I don't have a strong opinion. I'm pretty bearish on the New England offense. They are going against one of the most difficult schedules in the league, even in their in-division. Every team there has a great defense. They did just release Bailey Zappi today, so like that's a nice feather in the cap of Mac Jones kind of starting all year.
And Cunningham.
But I don't have a strong opinion. I think like, hey, the reports have been nice, and there's definitely a lot of room to grow as a wide receiver in that offense, lack of competition.
Fair enough. They also got rid of Malik Cunningham. So there is no backup quarterback in New England right now at all. So any of these Bailey Zappi truthers or Malik Cunningham truthers, they're probably upset because I don't think a Zappi or Cunningham are going to get a second chance to play quarterback. Maybe Cunningham will. I like the Jaden Reed pick there a lot. I love Jaden Reed this year. And Chig, he's been dropping a lot, but you got him at a relatively good value.
I do not understand the Chig dropping. So Chig started dropping. He started dropping when DeAndre Hopkins signed with Tennessee because people are considering him a purely volume play. And now that they bring in Hopkins, Chig can no longer make his value because he's not going to see as many touches. The thing is, with a weird thing about that thinking, that the weird part about that thinking is the real risk with Chig is that he wasn't going to be running routes on more than 50% of snaps because last year when he did run routes, he was extremely efficient, but he wasn't an every down tight end and he didn't run that many routes. Now you look at the competition and who the rest of the tight ends there, and it is just wheels up. And so, yes, I know they have Hopkins, they have Treylon Burks. They're not going to be throwing as much as other teams, but there's this decent argument that Hopkins and Burks are going to be kind of underneath lower average depth of target guys. And maybe Chig is actually the more downfield stretcher over the cross the middle of the field guy. And if he is playing 60, 70, 80% of snaps, like he's one of the few guys that's drafted this late that could actually surprise us with a top like six top six tight end season.
I don't disagree with anything you said and I mean, like, to be a top 6 tight end on the season, it's pretty, like, I'm not going to say it's pretty easy. I think the way I'm trying to frame it is like, it doesn't take many fantasy points to be a top 10 tight end. You have Travis Kelce, who's Travis Kelce, and then everybody else, right? So I believe Cole Kmet was a tight end 7 in some formats last year. Freiermuth was a tight end 6. Tight end 9 last year, I believe, was Gerald Everett. And none of these guys really broke fantasy football. So if you are talking about a later round value, Chig seems like an absolute steal, especially in round 13 where you got him, last pick 156. Yeah, Chig, they need to put a little bit more respect on Chig. I think the reason why I like Chig so much is I don't anticipate that the O-line improved vastly over there in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And since they don't have a lot of time to drop back and get those deep balls to, those 2 deep threats, he's going to be living in the flats and he's going to be a volume king. And I think volume for Chig is going to be very crucial. And I think that Derrick Henry's going to be pretty solid in terms of his receiving marker. I believe his receptions prop, Derrick Henry's receptions prop was 41.5.
Oof.
And I kind of like the over.
Tyjae Spears, though, looked really good, and one of his skill sets is pass catching. So I could see Tyjae Spears kind of spelling for Derrick Henry and doing a little more of that third down work. But it's hard with Derrick Henry to take over props too, just because of a health aspect. But yeah. But I agree with you with the offensive line kind of concerns.
Yeah. I'm just reading the chat. Apparently there was a mastiff last night, and one of them made it, one of them missed it. Just catching up with them. We don't have any questions in the chat. Just gonna make my pick here. All right, I'm desperate for a second tight end, so I will reach past ADP. Here's another guy who's dropping at the tight end position, Greg Dulcich, which it's kind of nice to see because I'm not there with Greg Dulcich, but I also don't want any tight end whatsoever from that Denver Broncos room. Troutman, I think they just released Albert O.
Albert O's gone. Yep.
Yeah, he burnt me a lot last year.
He got traded to the Eagles.
So why is Dulcich dropping?
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why is because we weren't seeing him actually playing in games with the ones, and on the depth chart, he was listed behind Troutman for the starters, and like that's a big concern. With Sean Payton, he wants to actually use blocking tight ends. We know he has connection with Troutman from before, and so that's why he's fallen. So I've been mostly off of him. However, when you get this Judy injury, we already know the Tim Patrick, we already know the KJ Hamler, like even if he's not in the field for the blocking downs, him still could be, when he's a pass catcher, like deliver some value. So I don't hate him. And I think like it kind of makes sense, especially if you have like that Denver stack. We are in a weird spot now where there's a bit of a kind of QB run going on. So being at the turn, I think I need to grab both my QBs here. Gives me a little stacking. I got Sanders with Bryce Young. I've got Devontae with Jimmy. But this is what we talked about. Like, hey, when you have one guy go Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Justin Fields, everyone else slowly starts feeling it, and you start kind of fighting for tight QBs. We saw, what was it, Castle Sports Talk saying that a dude reached 20 picks on Stafford with no correlation. Yeah, he probably had the Cooper Kupp or the Higbee or something there.
It ruins drafts. I asked you about Clayton Tune and Dobbs because I did a draft earlier today, and the same thing happened where there was a run on quarterbacks, and even Baker Mayfield was gone, and all I had was Geno Smith. So I had to make a decision between Clayton Tune and Josh Dobbs, and I just couldn't pick Dobbs, so I went with Clayton Tune. I even considered Hendon Hooker because I think they just activated Hendon Hooker off the pup, but I think he's a year removed. Yeah. So I mean, one of these guys has to start. That lineup I just threw in the freaking garbage. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to take a look at your team here. I want to see what you're building. I want to see what it takes to be the best, and I want to see, what you got. So far you got at the quarterback position, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Jimmy G. So is Trevor Lawrence one of those quarterbacks you're not comfortable going with, like a 2 QB build? Do you typically go with a 2 QB build, or is he one of those?
I usually like 2 QB builds on drafters. In this build, like when you're on the turns, if you miss out like on QBs, like I couldn't find the right stack partner. I couldn't find a QB that had falling value. So I kind of just said like, I'm going to go heavily on the Trevor Lawrence build and just get some really late guys in Bryce Young and Jimmy, who I'm not really losing too much in giving up pick 180, 181. But you'll see how many Jaguars I have on this team. This is just a bet. The Jaguars end up being like the best offense in football. And if so, give me a whole bunch of pieces of it.
Fair. So you go Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Jimmy Garoppolo, Travis Etienne to pair up with Trevor Lawrence, Dameon Pierce, which is a great pick, Miles Sanders to go with Bryce Young, Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert. I don't have any exposure to Raheem Mostert, and I don't like it. AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Christian Kirk to go with your Trevor Lawrence, Devontae Adams to go with your Jimmy G, Michael Pittman, Zay Jones. Once again, with you are a correlation nation kind of dude. Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Jaden Reed, Chig Okonkwo. Yeah, I can see why you're the best at what you do. I like your lineup. I like your team a lot. I don't even want to show off my lineup. I generally don't. What the hell is
I appreciate it. I don't know. I was liking a lot of the players you were taking. I think you've got a pretty solid build going. We'll see what you can wrap it, put it all together here. But no, I like what I'm seeing out of yours.
All right. So far we got Russell Wilson and Derek Carr. Russell Wilson should have a jump up year. Derek Carr, I don't know if I want to buy or if I want to sell. I love our running backs: Saquon, Najee, Kenneth Walker, Samaje Perine. Couldn't get much correlation anywhere, honestly. CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, which is not a great pick, but he came to me at the 80th pick. So when he is healthy, I will play him, especially in best ball format. Elijah Moore, Odell Beckham Jr., Jacoby Myers, Donovan Peoples-Jones. We went 3 tight ends. We went George Kittle, Dawson Knox, and Greg Dulcich. Just Dulcich for a correlation pick. Nothing else. Nothing more. I think it's okay. I definitely need, I wouldn't say need, a third QB, but it would be beneficial for me to get a third QB. And it was very nice to see that Justin Ross made the cut. Very happy to see Justin Ross making the cut. How do you feel about Justin Ross this year?
I've got 0 of him from like a player standpoint. I'm happy for him. Obviously, he was so good at Clemson, and just we haven't been able to see it because of injuries and such since then. Great that he was able to kind of make the team. And hey, anyone that's attached to the Kansas City offense, like, that's awesome. And the thing is, Justin Ross, he's probably not going to be playing special teams. So the fact that he made the team tells me like they actually have plans for him as a wide receiver. So I think that is bullish. I haven't been drafting him much, but if I'm going to be doing it, now's the time, because a major risk of him getting cut and not making the 53, that's gone. So decent. I like taking him now.
Yeah. I've been very bullish on Justin Ross. I just like the upside the whole way. And then like I was sold on Justin Ross, but there was that ick factor in the back of my mind, like what if he does get cut? And then Kadarius Toney went down. I'm like, time to go in. I love Justin Ross. I'm going to keep going Justin Ross, because who's the other guy? Watson.
Yeah. Justin Watson will always have a role. He's kind of that get 2 targets, maybe 3 targets a game, deep balls, get the kind of fly route. But like Justin Ross is the type where if he is able to kind of move into something, he can be a bit of a more of an alpha wide receiver that they need.
Ashen One says, I have a slow burn team that gets better with time. I will take a look at it. All right. You go Amon-Ra, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Darren Waller. I'm just going to pull it up here. It's better this way. So Deshaun Watson, can he pick it? Yes, he can. Nick Chubb. Okay, so Correlation Nation. Okay. Javonte, Alvin Kamara, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Taylor. You were the guy. Oh, we're on the clock. I mean, I'll take Donta Foreman now. Back to your team. Amon-Ra, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Isaiah Hodgins, Michael Gallup, Jameson Williams, Devontae Parker, Allen Robinson, Chase Claypool, Darren Waller, Taysom Hill. Now, I will say Ashton one's one of those guys who gets Taysom Hill in every one of these drafts, and he's very happy because Taysom Hill keeps falling later and later, but he actually got him in round 16, pick 182. Are you there with Taysom Hill? How do you like Taysom Hill?
I don't think so this year. I think it's perfectly fine to start drafting him now. All offseason, he's just going way, way too expensive. There's also just, so many good tight ends that have like decent upside that get drafted after him too. When I do take him, it's more on kind of an underdog where it's half PPR and touchdowns are important. On a full PPR site, his values are even a little less because he's just not catching that many passes. He has the more kind of the running backs, the out of the backfield, the sweeps aspect. But the rest of Ashen One's team, I did like a lot of that. And I think hey, that was a good spot. I like that Jonathan Taylor pick for him, where he could legit take a 0 from Jonathan Taylor and still have a good team. Or if he gets some spike weeks out of it, that was his 5th running back in the 10th round, 11th round.
Mm-hmm. So this is what he meant by the slow burn. Kamara out for the first 3 weeks. Williams is out 6, and Taylor out for 4. That makes perfect sense. So has the hurricane passed? Is it passing through? Is it there right now? What's going on with the hurricane situation?
Yeah, so you can see the light flickering in the background a little. I don't know if that's power, what's going on. But for us, it should be kind of middle of the night is when it'll be its worst. So I'm in the Tampa area. It's veered a little more west, a little more north of us. So it seems like Panhandle, maybe Tallahassee, a little east of Tallahassee is going to get hit the hardest. So we're expecting for flooding. We get, I don't know, people have ever used to hurricanes, but we get sandbags and we put the sandbags outside next to garages and doors and hope that prevents the flooding, because even though the winds are very bad, the storm surges are actually what do the most damage, where the water just kind of gets sucked in and then thrown back at you. We had a super moon, I think 2 nights ago. So that brings the tides pretty high as well. So even before the hurricane came and we got any rain, we had kind of about 6 inches of flooding in the streets. So this is the Florida life, hurricane life, but hopefully we should get lucky tonight.
Well, you guys are definitely in my prayers. That's terrifying stuff. I hope everything is fine. I almost drafted Corey Davis there.
Oh, that's not what you want.
No, I must be tired. Puka Nakua. Why not? Yeah, I must be tired. Quarterback.
Terrace Marshall is actually coming back. I thought we were lost him for a while, but turns out he may actually be playing sooner rather than later.
I enjoyed the dip on DJ Chark. I'm not going to lie, because he should be projected for week 1 or week 2, and he's a spike week freak. And if he's going to keep dropping in ADP, I'll definitely keep taking my shots on him. Terrace Marshall, I'm not so much there. I'm not there with anyone in that offense. Maybe Bryce Young, but Hayden Hurst is another guy who I have 0 exposure to. I look at him ew. Irv Smith, another guy. I see Irv Smith. It's you're the 6th option. You've burnt me every year. It's kind of personal with Irv Smith for me. I'm not a big Irv Smith guy. Joshua Kelly, you spoke it into existence.
I mentioned him earlier. I think he is a fantastic late last pick. And now I'm going to grab a guy I haven't been drafted in a while, but Wan'Dale Robinson, active from the PUP list. Still has to beat out Paris Campbell once healthy, but he wasn't too bad last year. So I think he can maybe take over that slot role sooner rather than later.
Wow, we must be drafting with sharks because Sterling Shepard is gone. Nana, he's just sniping me left, right, and center. I'm telling you, I don't like that fellow. Now, did Pierre Strong get traded to the
Cleveland
Browns? Okay, I thought he got traded to Cleveland.
Yeah, which is a better situation for him. I mean, I think it just looked like he was just falling too far behind in the depth chart in New England. And obviously, when they grabbed in Zeke, his role was kind of eliminated, or his upside. So going over to Cleveland, I still think Jerome Ford is probably the pass catching back, but Pierre Strong, I mean, like from a raw talent wise, like Pierre Strong, he's got some boost. So there's a chance that he kind of wins his way in. I'd say if you thought those bags were dead, like maybe this is a bit of a potential resurrection. But yeah,
I wonder if Demetric Felton made the cut.
I think he did. I hope he's a pretty good special teams player.
I hope he did, because I've taken some late round dart throws on him as well. Anyways, my friend, it's late. You got a lot to worry about. So stay safe. I'm sure you've dealt with it before, and I'm sure you'll deal with it again, but our prayers are with you. Everything should be fine. Have a wonderful and tremendous night as well as you possibly can. And once again, man, thank you for blessing us and blessing me with this opportunity. It does mean a lot, brother. Do you have anything to say to the folks before we sign off?
I appreciate that, Disco, and always fun hanging out and drafting with you and this community. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm very busy, especially these next week or two with best ball drafts and TOC and ETR and everything, but I am going to try to kind of continue to pop in every once in a while into your guys' Discord and say, hey, love hanging out with, everyone here in chat and such. So cheers to you. Thanks for the invite again, and I'll see you guys in the streets. I'll see you guys in TOC. We're ripping some packs. Let's go.
I can't wait, brother. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Take care. Peace.